brought to you by WikiVD Documentaries. Legion TV series.
Legion is an American cable television series created for FX by Noah Hawley. Based on the Marvel Comics character David Haller, Legion. It is connected to the X-Men film series, the first television series to be so, and is produced by FX Productions in association with Marvel Television. Hawley serves as showrunner on the series. Dan Stevens stars as Haller, a mutant diagnosed with schizophrenia at a young age. Rachel Keller, Aubrey Plaza, Bill Irwin, Jeremie Harris, Amber Midthunder, Katie Aselton, and Jean Smart also star. FX and Marvel Television announced a new collaboration to create a television series based on the X-Men character Legion in October 2015. With Hawley signed on to write and direct the pilot. Casting began by January 2016, and filming took place in Vancouver. Hawley wanted to show Haller as an unreliable narrator, including mixing 1960s design with modern-day elements, and filming the series through the title character's distorted view of reality.
The 8-episode first season of Legion premiered at the Pacific Design Center on January 26, 2017, ahead of its FX debut on February 8. The series received critical acclaim, particularly for its visuals and departure from superhero genre standards. A second season, of 10 episodes, was ordered in March 2017 and is planned for a February 2018 release.
Development. After completing work on the first season of Fargo at FX in 2014, Noah Hawley was presented with the opportunity to develop the first live-action television series based on the X-Men comics, of which Hawley was a fan when growing up. Hawley was initially pitched 2 different ideas for the potential series, including an adaptation of the comics Hellfire Club. But the ideas did not interest Hawley. Instead, he worked with X-Men film series writer and producer Simon Kinberg to reverse engineer an idea for the series. After discussing an interesting show in this genre that isn't being done, the two settled on the character of David Haller, Legion. Hawley found the character interesting because of his mental illness, and for the potential of the series to depict his unique mindset. He pitched the series as a deconstruction of a villain and a love story. In October 2015, FX ordered a pilot for Legion, with Marvel Television and FX Productions producing. FX Productions would handle the physical production. Hawley was set to write the pilot and executive produce the series alongside X-Men film producers Lauren Schuler Donner, Bryan Singer, and Kinberg, Marvel Television executives Jeff Loeb and Jim Corey, and Hawley's Fargo collaborator John Cameron, Steve Blackman, Alan Fine, Stan Lee, Joe Quesada, and Kareem Zarek also executive produce. Hawley's initial script for the series was described as less fractured, cohesive, and much more regular. However, he quickly reconceived the series and decided more Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, Terrence Malick, more whimsy, more impressionistic, and went in that direction. By January 2016, FX president John Landgraf was confident that the series would be picked up by the network, saying that the vast majority of things that we pilot do go forward to series, and the scripts for Legion are extraordinary. That May, FX ordered an 8-episode first season of Legion. In June, Landgraf said that the series, if successful, could run for as many seasons as Hawley feels it needs to tell the story. Discussing future seasons, Hawley said in January 2017 that he was open to continuing the story past the first season, but didn't want the audience to get to the end of the first run and have no resolution of any kind at the end of it. Star Dan Stevens said, "I know for a fact that there are more issues that David has to deal with than the one that we really address in the first season." Also at the time, Singer explained the executive producers' roles in the series, saying that he, Donner, and Kinberg brought their experience from making the X-Men films, but their involvement generally consisted of giving small notes on scripts and early cuts of episodes. In March, FX ordered a second season of the series.
With the end of the first season, Hawley said that the second season would consist of 10 episodes, and explained that he was unsure at the time how long he would like the series to run. "I think there were things about the first season that I felt would unfold faster than they did, and things that I thought would take longer that I dealt with more quickly. I think by the end of the second year I'll have a better sense of how many more years there are to go."
Writing. Kinberg teased in November 2015 that the series would tell X-Men stories in a slightly different way and even with a slightly different tone from the films, noting the differences in tone between the operatic X-Men films and the irreverent and hysterical Deadpool, and feeling that Legion gives us an opportunity to go even further, in some ways to sort of blow up the paradigm of comic book or superhero stories and almost do our Breaking Bad of superhero stories. Loeb noted that the core of all X-Men comic books has always been that the X-Men were different.
"We live in a world right now where diversity and uniqueness and whether or not we fit in is something that's on our minds 24 hours a day. The X-Men have never been more relevant than they are right now." Hawley added, "The great thing about exploring this character is before he has an opinion about anyone else, he has to figure out his own shit. That's what we all have to do.
This journey isn't necessarily racing toward a battle with an entity, so much as embracing the battle within." In May 2016, Hawley described his take on the series as being inspired by the works of David Lynch, and said that the structure of a story should reflect the content of the story. If the story, as in this case, is about a guy who is either schizophrenic or he has these abilities, i.e., he doesn't know what's real and what's not real, then the audience should have the same experience. My goal with this is to do something whimsical and imaginative and unexpected, not just because I want to do something different, but because it feels like the right way to tell this story. Elaborating on structuring the series to reflect Taller's point of view, Hawley said, "I love the idea that even when you're in it on the journey, there is this Alice in Wonderland quality to it, of a story within a story." Discussing the increasing popularity of unreliable narrators in television, Hawley said that he wanted to avoid making the audience think that the series is a puzzle that needs to be solved. By solving the mysteries for them up front, we're going to take a character out of confusion into clarity and an audience out of mystery into clarity.
Hawley deliberately chose not to directly adapt any storylines from the comics, feeling that you're bound to offend somebody, no matter what you do, in that situation. Instead, he wanted to take the character of Legion and basic setup around him, and play with that, which he described in relation to Fargo. "My job was not to remake the movie, to sort of retell a story that had already been told, but to try to tell a different story with the same effect, the same impact." Concerning the mental illness aspects of the character, Hawley said, "It's a tragic condition that people have, and so I don't want to use it for entertainment purposes. If we can ground that aspect for the audience, then the idea that he's fallen in love and that he's not ill, there's a hope to that the audience is gonna grab onto. In January 2017, Hawley explained that he was willing to use different tropes from the superhero genre in the series, such as superhero costumes with capes, if necessary, but did want to avoid sending a message that all conflict can only be resolved through battle.
There is a sense in a lot of these stories that everything always builds to a big fight. I wanted to find a story that was just as exciting and interesting, but doesn't send the message that in the end that might makes right. At the end of the first season, Hawley said, "I like this idea of having to face our demons." With the first season seeing Hawley go through an internal struggle, with the malevolent Shadow King occupying his mind, and then the second season seeing that character possess someone else, making it an exterior agent. And there's going to be something very complicated about going to war with himself. It's been with him since he was a baby. It's like a phantom limb now. It's part of him. Hawley said he preferred this idea of a villain worthy of creating a whole story around, rather than a villain of the year. He was unsure at the time how long that storyline would continue throughout the show, but said, "It's a fascinating setup to follow."
Thank you for watching. Brought to you by WikiVD Documentaries. Please like and subscribe below. Please like and subscribe below.